everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really exciting video. I am going to be discussing the worst American Girl historical characters. Now first I want to give a shout out to AllycatlovesAG here on YouTube. Me and her are friends on Instagram, but I saw her video today actually, and she did a video which was titled Worst Girly Years, so I thought I would do a version of worst historical characters just because I collect the historical characters. I don't collect anything else from the American Girl line, so I thought I would just do my own spin on this video considering I really love the video she created. So her video will be linked down in the description box below. So if you want to go check that out after, please make sure to go do that and make sure to subscribe to her. Also, when you're down there, make sure to subscribe to me. That way you're notified when I have new doll related uploads. And as always, make sure to follow me on Instagram because there I post more photos of my dolls. Now that is enough for today. Let's get into these worst American Girl historical characters. Now, before I get into this list, I just want to say that these are my own opinions. Of course, I know 100% that there's going to be some people who completely disagree with me, and that is 100% okay. We are all made differently, and it would be really boring if we lived in a world where everyone thought the same. Now, some of these characters I listed as the worst characters because I personally don't like them. It could be based on their looks, it could be based on their collections. Some of these I feel like they're the worst because American Girl doesn't give them enough attention that they deserve, so they just kind of like flop because people, like, there's not new products coming out for them often, so just people kind of forget about them, and I think that's a fault on American Girl for not marketing their dolls correctly or certain dolls correctly. So the very first character that I think is one of the worst historical characters, not because she's a bad concept. I love the concept of her, but I feel like American Girl doesn't give her enough attention, and that's why a lot of people forget about her, and that is Kaya. Now, I love the concept of Kaya. I love the idea of indigenous people being represented in the American Girl line, and I kind of wish that they had another indigenous character, maybe as a Girl of the Year. I just feel like only having 2 dresses that you can additionally purchase with Kaya is, I don't think it's very cool. I don't like that. I feel like it's not very accurate representation of indigenous people. So I feel like Kaya is like a great idea, but she's not like fully developed as I wish she was, and which is upsetting because I knew it took years for American Girl to research Kaya. Next we have Mary Grace and Cecile. Now you're probably like,
why is Mary Grace and Cecile on this list?
You love Mary Grace and Cecile.
And yes, I love Mary Grace and Cecile, but I don't really get why they exist. I feel like they're from a very obscure part of American history. Now, yes, New Orleans is fantastic and it's a wonderful place. I've never been there, but it just seems so magical and wonderful. I would love to visit New Orleans, but that's not, or New Orleans, sorry, I pronounced it wrong. Mary Grace and Cecile, they existed during the yellow fever epidemic, and I feel like that's just a very niche period in time. Like, for example, Molly represents World War II. That's something a lot of people experienced and impacted the world greatly, and it's just a very important time in history, but I just feel like the yellow fever is just super niche. Next we have Kirsten. Yeah, I know it's kind of becoming a debate on my channel whether or not it's pronounced Kirsten or Kirsten, but anyways, that's not the point of this video. So the thing about Kirsten is that her collection is I don't like it that much. Now Kirsten, it was my first doll, so I love her for that reason, and I bought her because I read the books before choosing what doll I wanted, and I wanted Kirsten because of her stories. But if she wasn't retired at the time that I got her, I don't think I would have liked her collection. When I look back on it, I'm like, there's nothing from her collection I like. It's all pretty basic and boring, and yes, I understand it was the pioneer times, but it just doesn't really seem unique. However, I do think it definitely could have been more boring. Like, I love the aspect of Nordic kind of elements in her furniture pieces and things like that because she is from Sweden. So I think that's very cool, and that is very unique, and the pioneer times could have been really boring if she was just another person from England, because we hear that narrative all the time, coming over from England and settling in America or Canada. I'm in Canada, so usually the narrative is someone from England. But having someone from Sweden, I think, is super unique and super cool. So that aspect of Kirsten, I think, is cool, but just her collection is kind of boring, and I know a few people say that her looks are kind of boring, and yeah, I can't argue with that. Next, we have Ruthie. Now, Ruthie is a very interesting character. I feel like a lot of people don't like her, and I kind of agree. I feel like she's kind of bratty, I'm not gonna lie, if I remember correctly. And it just seems kind of redundant to have Ruthie. Like, I've always felt kind of meh about Kit and Ruthie. I don't really, like, I don't know anything that makes Ruthie really unique. She kind of looks like Samantha. You know, she has gray eyes like Molly. She just doesn't seem like a very unique doll. Next, we have Nenea, and I feel like the reason I don't like Nenea is because I feel like it's just kind of weird having two dolls represent the same time period. Molly and Emily and then her. So I guess it would be three dolls, even though Emily doesn't really exist anymore. And Molly is technically not like, she's retired technically. But I feel like Nenea, like, I love Nenea's story, don't get me wrong, and I love it being set in Hawaii, but I just feel like it's just kind of weird to me to have two characters of the same time period. It's just kind of weird. Then the outfits, I feel like, have no cohesiveness. That you'll have, like, there's that one dress, which is like, I think it's like your school dress or something like that, and it's just like a blue dress with lots of little tiny flowers, and then you have this big, you know, pink and yellow dress which has giant flowers on it, and it just doesn't feel like they like belong to the same person. So I just feel like Nenea's outfits are just all over the place. Next, we have Julie and Ivy, and I don't know if I hate Julie and Ivy just because they're from the 70s, and I do not like the 70s. Sometimes I wonder if I would like the Julie and Ivy if their costume or their outfits look very costumey. It just doesn't. I have a hard time believing that people would actually wear this in the 1970s. It just doesn't seem very realistic to me. If any, like, I did enjoy Ivy's movie on Amazon Prime. It was pretty cool. I haven't finished it, but I was very close to finishing it. But I do think that was cool, seeing some interesting 70s stuff, but I don't know how accurate that was, because the Mary Ellen movie wasn't very accurate. But anyways, we're getting distracted. I just feel like Julie and Ivy, every single outfit they ever release for them, I think is just ugly, except for Ivy's like New Year's outfit, her red dress. I think that is very cute, like that. Everything else is like atrocious. I hate it. Last but not least, but maybe least because we're talking about the worst American Girl lists. Anyways, next we're talking about Courtney. Now, I feel like the reasons I don't like Courtney is the same reasons why I don't like Julie and Ivy. I like the 80s. The 80s are cool. Stranger Things, I really enjoyed the TV show, but Courtney, just, I feel like all of her outfits are very costumey. Like, it literally looks like when you Google 80s Halloween costume, Courtney would probably pop up. Everything is super bright and super crazy. I want to know if there's any parents watching this. Were the 80s that crazy? Like, it literally looks like Claire's barfed on her. And I'm like, was it always that bright? Like, I understand, like, maybe having, like, jeans and, like, a bright sweater or something like that, like, just a little bit, but just the excessiveness of it all drives me crazy. So that is it for my video today. Hopefully you guys liked this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, subscribing so that way you're notified when I have a new doll upload would also be wonderful and fantastic. It is 100% free, by the way. And finally, follow me on Instagram to see more posts about my dolls. And also, don't forget to watch AllycatlovesAG's video, link in the description box below. And I think that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.